and good day, Algebra. We are continuing our marathon on systems of equations, but the end is in sight. We are talking about the elimination method. We're past the point of solving. We're looking at how to write the equations ourselves, which is kind of the culmination of this topic. We started yesterday, and we mentioned that equations that are going to be set up for elimination are going to have two value equations, not like substitution to where there's a quantity, x plus y or whatever it is, and then a value. These are both going to have value. And I believe we talked about the students and teachers with the parabola exhibit yesterday, right? And we talked about how we're not going to go through the entire thing, but just to recap, if maybe you missed it. Our two totals here, we've got the 52 here and the $140.50 there. And how we wrote our equations, we said, well, what makes up that $52? What goes into it? What costs $52? And we have 16 students and 2 teachers. We made students our C variable because my S's are horrible. And we made teachers T. And so our first equation was 16C, 16 children plus 2 teachers equals 52. And then our second equation, which equaled $140.50, it was 37 children plus 8 teachers equals $140.50. And from there, you just go back to the solving piece of it. Okay, getting those like coefficients, we decided to multiply 2 and everything else in that top equation by 4 to get the 8t, which we subtracted. We solved the equation, and it turns out that a child ticket was $250 and an adult ticket was $6, or teacher ticket was $6. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of the theme for what we're going to be doing for the rest of this page. Okay. Let's jump right down to the one below it. In January, Ray Diaz. Thank you for that. Ray Diaz sent 2,475 text messages, used 8 gigs of data, and her bill was $195.75. She got in trouble, so in February, she sent a mere 1,300 text messages, only used 5 gigs of data, and received a bill of $110. How much does each text message and each gig of data cost? Okay, back in the olden days, before every plan was unlimited this and unlimited that, if you went over your allowance, then you had to pay a premium for it. Like you had weekend minutes were free, evening minutes like after 7 o'clock were free. There's a promotion that T-Mobile had where it was like your fave 5. So you picked 5 numbers and you could talk for free all the time to them, but others you had to pay for. And it was ridiculous. In text messages, I think my plan, I had $200 a month, and then it was 5 cents per text message after that. So in college, what's that? Well, they didn't have that back in the day. I mean, it was the spam that you get now it was too new back in the day. But anyway, so in college, when I started to date, I text a lot more back and forth, and I got a letter from my dad in the mail, and I thought, oh, sweet, letter from parents, might be some money in it. Here we go. I open it up, and it's my cell phone bill because I sent a lot more text messages than I was allowed, so I owed him like $300 for that month. So, yeah, the relationship didn't last. In case you're wondering. So Ivy.
What carrier did you have and what carrier do you have now?
I've been with T-Mobile for, what year is it? 2021? 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah. Yes. Your math is, you're ready to go today. Okay. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. So we got Ray Diaz here. Our first step is to identify our variables. We'll use T for a text, and we'll use G for a gig of data. Okay, and so now we're going to identify the totals, and we're looking for 2 values here, right? What are the 2 values or 2 totals given here, Brent?
110 and 195.
Okay. Does it matter which equation we put first? Which one goes on top in our system here? It doesn't. Okay. The nice thing about this is the math is going to work out to where regardless of which equation you put on top, which in subtraction typically it matters, what comes first. In this case, it doesn't. Okay. So I think in the last class we put the 195.75 up on top. In this case, let's put the 110 because that's what Brent said first. What makes up that 110? What goes into that bill of $110? Brent, go ahead. You're on a roll. 1,300T plus 5G made up that bill of $110. Okay. Our other total, which was 195.75, what went into that? Someone knew. Lauren. 2,475 text messages and 8 gigs of data. Okay. You'll notice here as you go through more of them that sometimes, in fact, I'll even dare to say usually, the way the sentence is organized is the way your equation is going to get set up as well, right? We've got 2,475 text messages, 8 gigs of data. The bill was 195.75. That's essentially what we have written here in math form, okay? Then we have 1,300 texts, 5 gigs, 110. Again, kind of the same order there. So that's a big help. Who wants to get like coefficients for T? Brent, you have fun. The rest of us will get like coefficients for G because clearly that's going to be the more efficient method here, right? Going for 40 instead of whatever it's going to be for T. So in this case, we do need to multiply both equations. So we're going to multiply the top equation, everything by 8, to get that 40 as a coefficient for G. And the reason why I'm picking 40 here is it's the least common multiple of our coefficients we already have for G, which are 5 and 8. Okay, and how do we get there? Is we multiply by 8. The bottom equation is going to get multiplied by 5 to get that 40G. And we're going to be able to combine the equations with elimination then. So our top equation becomes, is it 10,400? 10,400T plus 40G equals 880. And let's see, 2,475 times 5, 12,375. T plus 40G equals 978.75. Okay. Are we going to be adding or subtracting these equations here? Subtracting, because our like coefficients, those 40s, right, to get 0 from that, 40 minus 40 equals 0. So we're going to subtract these. We don't have any other negative signs to deal with, which is kind of nice. So we have 10,400 minus 12,375, and that gives us negative 1,975T. Our G's cancel out by design. And 880 minus 978.75 is negative $98.75. So while some people might be catching up with the notes here, tell me why it wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day. Why wouldn't it have mattered if we had put our bottom equation up on top instead? Why would it still work out to get the same solution? Erica?
Because both are negative.
Right. And what happens, our last step here, right, is to divide. And what happens when you divide a negative with another negative? It makes it positive. If we had put our bottom equation up on top instead, the only thing that would be different here is we'd have positive 1,975 and positive 98.75, which would still give us a positive value when all is said and done, which a text message, I gave it away earlier, is 5 cents. 0.05. Okay. Questions on that first half of it? Is it the writing of the equations or the solving or just the whole thing put together?
The whole thing.
Yeah.
It's actually easy. It's just a lot.
There's a lot of opportunities for mistakes. We'll put it like that. These multi-step things. There's a lot of opportunities to write a number wrong or misread a number or miss a negative sign, which is why not only showing work but showing work neatly in an organized manner is pretty important here. How do we solve for G? We have a value for T. How do we get G, Juliana?
You plug in 0.5 for T and solve it.
Yeah, we take that 0.05, we plug it in for T in one of the equations, and we solve for G. How many options do we have here for equations that we could use? Elise? We have 4 options here. We have our 2 original, and we have the 2 new ones that we wrote over here. Any 4 of those is going to work to plug T in for and solve for G. Just because our numbers keep them a little bit smaller here, we'll go with the top one here. So 1,300 times 0.05, the cost of a text, plus 5G equals 110. 1,300 times 0.05, that's 65. So 65 plus 5G equals 110. I'm out of room here, but 2-step equation. Subtract 65, divide by 5. I think the cost of a gig is $9. Okay. So there you have it. Questions on any of that? Okay. Everyone caught up in notes? Can we go on to the next one? 10 minutes of class left. Man, these periods go by quickly. Whew. All right. So looking at the next one here. Conferences are coming up. The timing of this is just perfection. Conferences are coming up, and Mr. Schultz is a reasonable man. He charges a flat fee to ensure a generally positive conference with your parents. Just the basis. Doing well, nice kid, nothing fancy, but positive. However, for a small charge per compliment, I'll say some extra stuff. No, I don't do this in real life. We are recorded. Yeah, no. You may not ask me to do this. Okay? In the fall, you ordered a positive conference with 8 compliments, and in the spring, you ordered a positive conference with 13 compliments. Your fall bill was $22.36, and your spring bill was $33.21. What is the fee for a positive conference, and how much is it per compliment? Okay. It's more than 5 cents. I mean, it would be. It is in the cut. Okay. Yes.
So my question is, what if you're just like a generally good student? Are you gonna like downplay that?
This is purely fictional. Talk to me later. Purely fictional, not true at all. Okay. So let's start to crack this open. So first, we're going to identify variables. Okay. What would you be paying for? What is the question here asking? Well, look for the question mark and look at what comes before it. Elise. Okay, so we have a positive conference, which since the other one's going to be complement here, we'll use P for positive conference and C for a complement. Okay. The second step, we're looking for our totals. What are the totals here? What are the values? Swicky. Okay. Good. Right? So we know that our equations, one will equal 2236, and the other will equal 3321. Okay? So we look at that 2236 and we say, okay, well, what made that up? What went into that? It says your fall bill was $22.36. So in the fall, we ordered a positive conference with 8 compliments. Okay, what's that going to look like as an expression as part of this equation here? 1 positive conference and 8 complements. Noah. P plus 8C, right? That coefficient to the P is just 1. 1 positive conference, 8 complements. That 3321 refers to the spring. What do we do in the spring? Positive conference, 13 complements. What does that look like as an expression for part of this equation? Pay me for them. Brent. P plus 13C. Okay. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, wait a minute, I thought that all of our variables were supposed to have coefficients. I could use substitution for this if I wanted to. You're right, you could. Okay. As we get the process down, you're going to be able to set these up and then decide which method is going to work best for you. If you're not all about the elimination method, this one sets up pretty well for substitution if you want to. Okay. But using the elimination method, it actually is pretty slick for that too, because what do we need to do to get a like coefficient here in front of one of our variables? Nothing. Both of them contain that phi for a generally positive conference. So if we take that phi away and just look at the fact that 8 minus 13, negative 5c, 2236 minus 1321, negative, oh, that's not right. 2236 minus 3321, negative $10.85. Right? We can now calculate the cost per complement, which ends up being what? What? What a weird price. $2. They're good compliments. $2.17. I don't give them away for free. Okay. And then now we know the price for a complement. We can go back and calculate the price for that generally positive conference. So, like I said, as you write these, you can kind of see, okay, what's going to set up for me? Substitution works here. Elimination works great here. And we got half of it done. You can do the rest of it. Bridget. It is a negative 5. But when you divide negative 10.85 by negative 5, we get that positive.
Like an S and a C.
Yeah, sorry, my 5s. I gotta practice. Maybe that's what we'll do for now. Well, while you're showing work and working out, I'll practice 5s.
Yeah, that's how you draw that.
That's how you do it from now on. Well, no one's going to mistake that for an S, though. I mean, if the goal is to tell the difference between a 5 and an S.
I mean, I think those are
Thank
pretty
you.
good 5s.
Thank you, Soybe. I can always count on you for a compliment. You get a freebie. Okay. Let's look at the second page here. You can cross out the perfect bottle of Mountain Dew question. We're not going to cover that. But go down to the local grocery store where we have Mr. E and Miss Terry.
No, he was our
Yes. Yes. There was a Mr. E.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who just got it? Thank you, Daniel. Mr. E and Miss Terry is kind of a, yeah, Mr. So, okay, and then we have Blue. So, Mr. E pays $9.70 for 1.8 pounds of potato salad and 1.4 pounds of coleslaw. Miss Terry pays $6.55 for 1 pound of potato salad and 1.2 pounds of coleslaw. How much do 2 pounds of potato salad and 2 pounds of coleslaw cost? So kind of two things that are a little bit different here that you just need to pay attention to and don't let it block you. Okay, sometimes decimals can be a mental block to people, right? But if this had said, Mr. E pays $9.70 for 2 pounds of potato salad and 3 pounds of coleslaw, what would the 2 and the 3 represent in your equation when you set it up? Mr. E pays $9.70 for 2 pounds of potato salad and 3 pounds of coleslaw. What would the 2 and the 3 represent in your equation, Noah? They'd be the coefficients. No different here. It's just not 2 pounds, it's 1.8. And it's not 3 pounds, it's 1.4. There's still going to be coefficients. They're just decimals. You can use a calculator to multiply, you can do anything you want with them. Okay, so don't be blocked by that. And then the question says, how much are 2 pounds of potato salad and 2 pounds of coleslaw? This process of solving for a system, back on the previous page, we found the cost of one text. So if one text was 5 cents, what would 2 texts cost? 10 cents. If 1 gig is $9, how much are 2 gigs? 18. So you're going to solve this, and it's going to give you the price for 1 pound. You just need to then kind of convert that to 2 pounds. Okay? So 2 little things, not meant to trip you up necessarily, but just to keep in mind there. Okay? So that question is going to be for homework. We're going to skip beluga whale and head down to Burger King. Burger King bought a total of 20 pounds of grass seed for their new veggie burgers, right? At a nursery for $168. He paid $9 per pound for Kentucky bluegrass and $6 per pound for tall fescue. Found the amount X in pounds of Kentucky bluegrass and amount Y in pounds of tall fescue that Burger King purchased. You don't have to use X and Y if you don't want to. If you want to use K and F or whatever you want to, okay? That's more in there is more of a guide, but it's up to you. Okay? So 2.5 really for homework for tomorrow, finishing the conferences question and then the Mr. E and Miss Terry and Burger King. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, comments, congratulations, or criticisms? Yes, Webby.
I really like the names of the people.
Thanks. I was feeling particularly tickled, I guess, when I wrote this page. I don't know. Yeah.
Why did I make the name hunt so bad?
I don't know. Like I said, I just must have been in a mood.
They're pretty
You
good
know.
to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Bridget.
If you have good compliment, will you have to pay me?
Well,
No, I will not pay you to give me a compliment.
me.
You're
You feel free to compliment me anytime you want to, free of charge.
okay, no.
Okay. All right, with gusto, folks, that's how you math.